My name is Mara, and I was 17 the year I actually understood what a lockdown drill sounds like when it's real. It was a Tuesday, fifth period, study hall, and our regular teacher was out sick, which meant a substitute none of us recognized was standing at the front of the room while I sat next to my best friend Priya, half doing a worksheet on ecosystems and half scrolling my phone under the desk where I thought nobody could see. It was the kind of period where nothing happens. That's what made it easy to ignore the first weird thing. About 20 minutes in, the substitute walked over to the door, turned the little lock above the handle, and told us it was for a drill. I remember thinking that was a strange way to phrase it, because we'd done fire drills and lockdown drills before, and they always started with an announcement first. I told myself maybe I'd missed an email, maybe the front office had switched things up and forgot to tell the students. Substitutes are weird about rules sometimes, overly cautious, trying to prove they can handle a class. I went back to my worksheet. The intercom stayed quiet. No tone, no voice, nothing. I kept waiting for the 3 short beeps that usually meant something official was happening, and they never came. The substitute didn't go back to teaching either. He just stood near the door with his hand resting on the frame, watching the hallway through the narrow rectangle of window in the door, like he was waiting for someone. A girl near the front raised her hand and asked if she could use the bathroom, and he said no without turning around. Just no, not right now. I looked at Priya. She looked at me. Neither of us said anything out loud, but I typed a message to her under the desk instead of whispering, because something about the room felt like it needed quiet. My phone had no bars, not low signal, none. I turned it off and on, still nothing. Priya mouthed, "Mine either." I want to explain what that 10 minutes felt like, because it wasn't panic yet. It was worse than panic in a way. It was this slow tightening, like my body understood before my brain did that something was wrong and was trying to get my attention through my stomach instead of my thoughts. I kept looking at the substitute's shoes. I don't know why. They were scuffed brown loafers, and I kept staring at them like they'd tell me something. Then the real announcement came. The lockdown tone, the 3 tones, and then the principal's voice, flat and rehearsed, but with a thread of something underneath it, saying there was an unauthorized individual in the building, and all students and staff needed to remain in place, with doors locked and lights off. Our door was already locked. It had been locked for 10 minutes before anyone official said it should be. I remember the room going cold in that specific way. Rooms go cold when 20-something teenagers all stop breathing normally at the same time. The substitute finally turned around and looked at us, and for the first time I noticed he didn't look scared. He looked like he was listening to something none of us could hear. We all got under our desks the way we'd practiced 100 times in drills that had never meant anything until now. I was pressed against the leg of my desk with Priya's knee against mine, and that's when the door handle turned. Not shaken, turned. Slow, deliberate, like someone testing whether it would give. It stopped. Then, maybe 90 seconds later, it turned again. The same unhurried motion, like whoever it was had all the time in the world and wanted us to hear it. The substitute was crouched with us by then, his back against the same wall, and I remember thinking, stupidly, that he must know something we didn't, that maybe this was connected to whoever he actually was. It turned a third time. I stopped being able to swallow. My mouth had gone completely dry, and I kept running my tongue over my teeth, because it was the only thing I could control. Eventually 4 of us, me, Priya, and 2 boys from the back row, crawled along the floor to the supply closet at the side of the room, while the substitute dragged a filing cabinet in front of the main door, grunting with the effort, his loafers scraping against the tile. We shut ourselves inside among the reams of paper and boxes of dry erase markers, and sat in absolute dark for what felt like hours, but was probably closer to 1. I could hear my own pulse in my ears. At some point the handle turned one more time, and none of us moved, none of us breathed, and I stared at a thin line of light under the closet door like it was the only real thing left in the world. When the police finally cleared the hallway and knocked in the specific pattern the principal had told us to expect, I came out shaking so badly I had to sit down again immediately. Here's the part I still think about. When the school reviewed the substitute roster afterward, there was no record of anyone matching his description being hired that day. Our regular teacher's sub-request had gone to someone else entirely, a woman, who'd apparently never shown up, and no one had noticed the mismatch. The hallway cameras near our door showed no one approaching it during the time we heard the handle turn. Not once. I never learned who the man in our classroom actually was, or why the handle moved on its own outside a door that, according to the footage, no one was ever standing at. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now, and make sure to subscribe.